Genesis chapter 3, verse 6. We've been in the garden with the serpent and his conversation with the woman, tempting her to eat of the fruit of the tree. Now we see this sad climactic finish of this initial scene. Now it's a lengthy verse, but it's really important, so let's take a look. Kai Eden hegune, hati kalan ta zulan es brosen kai hati arrestan tois ophthalmois Eden, kai horion esten tu katanoesai. And then we'll finish it here in a second. So we begin with Aden, and this is from horao. This is a third singular aorist active indicative here. Notice that it's a complete stem change, E on the front end, third singular ending. And it was the woman. So the woman saw. Now, what does she see? Notice we have a hati and a hati. So this is in fact, it's a threefold parallel clause here, but the hati is not repeated in the third one. So she saw that Kalan ta Zulan. If you recall, Zulan here is the tree, and Kalan here is good. Notice it has the on ending because ta Zulan is neuter. So this is a predicate position with this adjective not coming directly after the article. So she saw that the tree, probably in this case, since it's a past tense, we'd say was good. You'd throw in the was there. And it's good for what? Ace brosen. It is good for or as food there. So she sees that the tree was good for food and hati arreston. So arrestos here means pleasing. And it's pleasing to her eyes, or it doesn't say her, but to the eyes. Notice she's actually being captivated by how it looks here. And then Eden. So it's good to the eyes to see. Now, Eden here is also going back to horao, but this is the infinitive form, the aorist infinitive form, as opposed to the indicative previously. So it's good to the eyes to see. And then lastly, horion. That means beautiful. And it's beautiful to katanoesai. Notice this is an articular infinitive. Notice the article here in the genitive. It's going to express something basically like to blank. And it's from katanoeo, and it has this aorist active infinitive ending here. And so it is beautiful to contemplate or something like that. But what's interesting, just a minor point here, the underlying Hebrew is lehaskil, which is to make wise. And so in a certain sense, you could argue that katanoeo maybe picks up on a little bit of that nuance, but actually the Greek translator is probably sticking more with the visual aspect of seeing and contemplating and so forth. Before we finish the verse, though, let's take a look at some of the wordplay going on here. So if you go back to Genesis 2:16, we saw that God is giving them the fruit of the trees as food. So we see brosis here being repeated in the narrative. Then Genesis 2:17, that's the prohibition. So you're not supposed to eat from the zulan. We see that again, to know good and evil. So that's what God is withholding from them. But here the woman is actually seeing that it is kalon. It's an interesting little wordplay on that same word for good, whereby her mind is not open to seeing good and evil. And it's the same word, though, in Greek to show that it's actually good to her eyes as sort of pleasing and good to eat. She's not able to judge moral good and evil, but she's able to see that the fruit of this tree is nevertheless good because it was made by God. Then lastly, we saw in the prior video, when the serpent tells her that if you do eat of it, your eyes will be opened, we see the ophthalmois being repeated here again, her eyes. In a certain sense, her eyes are open because she sees that the fruit is, kalon and arreston and beautiful and so forth, but she's not actually morally able to see. And so there's really a lot of interesting connections, not only to Genesis 2, but Genesis 3 here. But let's continue and see what happens as the tragic finale. Kai labusa tu karpu autu ephagen, kai eduken, kai to andri autes, met autes, kai ephagon. This is a really interesting conclusion. We start with the participle here. You see that feminine ending. You see a stem change from lambano. This is a nominative singular feminine, aorist active participle. So she took the fruit, or after taking the fruit, and it's autu here. So it's its fruit from the tree. Ephagen. This is from estheo. We've seen that word numerous times. This is the third singular aorist active indicative with that spelling change and the epsilon on the front end. So she ate, a crescendo of this tragic scene. But not only that, she edoken. This is from didomi, another third singular aorist active indicative. She gave it now, so she's giving it. In this case, because you already have a kai as a conjunction, this kai would be also to Andri, Altes here. So it's her husband, that is Adam. We find out that he has met Altes, so he is with her. Now, where was he previously? When the serpent basically takes Eve as his prey, don't know. He had abandoned his post. Now, though, when he's with her, she gives him this fruit, not telling him perhaps where it's from, not telling him what Satan had said about it, and they ate. Once again, we have the ephagon, similar to ephagon, but now it's plural. This is a third plural. Together they eat as well. She ate, then she gives it to Adam. They both eat. And that, of course, is the great tragedy of humanity. Adam's failure to protect her in the garden, but when she's with her, he is also complicit in the sin. And so as we go forward from here, we'll see how Paul in particular draws on this down the road with this failure, this sin in the garden.